Good day, everyone. It's Oscar week, and those who know me would realize that I probably would do a reflection on the film that's the best picture of the year, which is Nomad Land, because I really believe firmly that God speaks to us in so many different ways, especially through music, art, literature, and movies. I had the opportunity a few days ago to watch Nomadland. It's a powerful movie. Not much action, might be considered slow, but amazing character studies, amazing cinematography, so much to think about and reflect on and share with somebody. The movie begins and ends at Christmas time with the song, "What Child Is This?" Frances McDormand plays Fern, who loses everything in the Great Depression. Her husband dies, her company in town in rural Empire, Nevada collapse, so she embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling, modern-day nomad. She was tired of the disappointments of a more conventional and materialistic life, so she explores life outside of conventional society. She says she's not homeless, she's houseless. She takes with her what's essential to travel, which includes photos that help her remember what she had and who she is and was in her life. She goes from job to job and meets many fellow wanderers along the way. There are two interpretations that I've read on this film. The first, that it's a story of a woman running from grief, unmoored from society after everything she knew vanished. It's also the second interpretation, that it's a story of so many Americans who feel lost nowadays, unsure where to go next or what tomorrow will bring. And after what we've been through over the past year, I believe we can all relate to the unease and uncertainty that comes from this film. We have felt it this past year. And the film deals with solitude and community, grief and perseverance. It's a reflection on mortality and making the most of life when you can. As one reviewer put it, Fern, surrounded by the unforgiving, expansive, yet majestic American landscape, is chiefly a nomad because everything that's provided her stability and security in the past dissipated. Her husband died, leaving no children. She's forced to go out on her own. One of the main themes I see in the movie is how to accept grief and loss with open arms, not to deny it or even try to get over it. Because with Fern, it's always there, and she moves on in spite of it. And Fern meets so many fellow travelers along the way who are filled with the same kind of anxiety and unrest and loss. And the way they cope is to find beauty in the smallest things, like a smile, definitely in nature, a dip in the river, a kind gesture of a neighbor. And these people that she meets all seem so very generous, sharing their belongings, helping each other, which is certainly a good model for all of us. They also show a good pattern of living a very simple life in the moment and enjoying God's creation. Taking a line spoken in the film by who was the evangelist, Bob Wells, they dedicated Nomadland to the ones who had to depart. I see this meaning to all who have had their lives turned upside down and because of it found out how to survive and live with loss by simply living simple and loving, appreciating every day and everyone, coming out of it wiser and humbled on the other side of suffering. The final conversation that this evangelist, Bob Wells, had with Fern, he articulated his lifestyle, where he says there's no final goodbye. I will see you down the road. To see this in terms of Christianity, it's that our expectation of eternal life, the promise of resurrection. And also to see it in terms of Christianity, that we're all nomads, living in between birth and resurrection, transformation through resurrection. So to be a Christian is to be a nomad, to live in the in-between as we await the future kingdom of heaven, as we await for it on this side of heaven. It's a reminder that those who follow Christ are also foreigners and strangers wandering through this land. It all begins and ends with Christmas, the incarnation, God coming into our world in the midst of our grief and our anxiety. The incarnation is our anchor. If we allow it to anchor us, God speaking to us through Jesus, who becomes one of us and gives us the grace and the ability to deal with suffering, not to deny it or avoid it, but to accept it and live with it by trying to live a simple life and trying to be kind and generous and caring to each other. Perhaps each one of us can watch this movie and see how we would interpret it. This is simply my interpretation. It's a powerful movie, and I think you'll gain a lot from it. Don't expect a lot of action. Just watch the characters and look at the amazing scenery. Have a good week, everybody.